everybody?
Hello.
Episode 12.
Wow, we're in that deep.
Dude, I didn't realize we were going to get this far, but, here we are. Episode 12. Coming at you guys live. How you doing, Dean?
I'm alright. A little discombobulated. I just woke up. Passed out. Long day. But I'm excited. You know what? I was like a little kid, when you get candy and you eat it and you pass out and you wake up kind of, because I got some candy today, man. The Niners. Woo!
We'll definitely be going into the Niners' aggressive move they made earlier today. I know that's old news at this point, but we're going to be talking about that a lot. You want to dig right in there?
Yeah, I'll just quickly give the layout of today's show, just quickly for the people.
Okay,
So we'll be talking, obviously, the breaking news with the Niners, the Dolphins, and the Eagles, which is just like huge news. We'll go into that. Then we'll be talking about Saturday, Sunday, Sweet 16. And then if we have a little bit of time, we'll just talk NBA trade deadline. But we have a lot of stuff to go over, so probably not much NBA bets today. But we'll get you with March Madness bets.
Sounds good, Dean. Sounds good. All right. Well, hey, let's get right into it. So the Niners send over a set of draft picks. What were the draft picks that they sent?
I believe so. They traded for the Dolphins number 3, so that's what they got in return. And what they traded was their 12th overall this year, their third-round compository pick that they got because Salah signed with the Jets, which I think is kind of ironic. And they gave up their first-round pick for the next 2 years. So overall, 3 first-rounders and a third for this quarterback soon-to-be named. What do you think of the trade?
You know what, man? My opinions. I think Jimmy Garoppolo, as great of a quarterback as he has been when healthy, due to his inability to stay on the field, as we've seen, 3 out of 4 of his seasons, he's gone down before September. So, that's quite early in the season. You're having to deal with the backup quarterback. I like the Niners going out there and really setting themselves up for a future and a very bright quarterback early in the picks.
Yeah, but you didn't think it was too much. What do you lean? You're just out of 10. Out of 10, let's do. How about you do out of 10? 10 being like a grand slam.
No, it's not a grand. It's not a grand slam.
It's
a grand slam is really hard to get, right? A grand slam.
A grand slam is not a normal number that you should get. No.
No.
Okay, let me put it into.
I'm leaning like an 8. I think I'll give it an 8.
Okay. A grand slam would be how the original trade, the Tunsil trade, that the Dolphins totally finessed the Houston Texans and got 4 first-round picks for that tackle. That would be a grand slam. So to put it in perspective.
No, I got you.
So an 8, yeah, I would agree. I'm at a 9's a lot. Yeah, I'd say a 7.5 or an 8. I am in the belief that some people thought, and I think the Rams kind of overpaid for Stafford, but when your problem is at the most important position in football, basically the most important position in sports, the quarterback, I'm fine with taking a big swing. And, the Rams are in way deeper draft, poverty than the Niners.
Definitely.
And the only thing about the Niners is those high-pick quarterbacks, it's like a 50-50 flip of the coin, like on whether they're going to be stars or not. So that is the risk, but I like the trade.
Yeah, and I think as far as what Shanahan's wanted, he's wanted a quarterback that he could really, mold into his system from the get-go, from the start. And it's not to say that Jimmy wasn't able to do that, but Jimmy had already kind of somewhat established himself elsewhere, and this really can be a defining relationship between the third overall pick and Coach Shanahan, and it could really shape up to be something great.
Well, you know what? What you're saying is it's just a monumental moment because he's going to be tied to this guy. You know, all the success that Shanahan has over the next 10, 15 years. if he lasts that long as the Niners, there's a lot of scrutiny being in such a big job. It's going to be tied to this decision. So this is just really exciting. I just hope the quarterback's going to be under a lot of pressure. But on the other end, so Jimmy Garoppolo. So let's talk about Jimmy Garoppolo. What do you think is going to happen to Jimmy Garoppolo now?
So Schefter reports that they plan to have him on the team for now. I think that is a statement made by the 49ers front office, a smart statement to say, hey, if you're interested in him, we want him right now. You're not going to get any value. You're not going to get any more value on the guy if you say we're not going to have him as our starting quarterback. Who's gonna go out there and go after him knowing that the 49ers don't even want him? They're not going to trade for anything. They're not going to get any value for that. So it's a move. It's a smart move. But I don't see him staying for the 49ers in this upcoming season. I see him probably playing for New England.
So you think if he were to get traded, when do you think he would get traded? Like in season or like before the season starts?
To be honest, man, I couldn't actually go into the details of when. I just feel like it's going to be at some point. I could see it happening before the season, but I just know that
who's the starter? Who's the starter game one, not preseason game one?
I mean, I think you have to go with third overall pick.
See, I was thinking that earlier, and then I was listening to Coward and a bunch of other talk shows, and you know what? You remember when Jimmy came in and he didn't even start 4 weeks in because of how complicated Kyle's offense is, right?
Yeah.
Like, doesn't he have, haven't we heard time and time again, weekly he puts in 10 or 15 new plays, he modifies them, he switches them up, the wizard, right? I think it's going to be kind of an Alex Smith, Pat Mahomes situation.
I could totally see that.
I think the Rook is going to have to sit for 4 or 5 weeks at the very least, because that offense is so. Imagine coming out of college, you got to learn Kyle Shanahan's offense. That's crazy.
You're on point with that one, Dean. Yeah.
So I think personally that's what's going to happen, and by that time, the wheels may have fallen off Cam Newton, so maybe New England will get him before the trade deadline, in-season trade deadline.
You know what?
That's where I think it's kind of maybe shape up.
I changed my opinion, and actually thinking about it earlier, I was totally on the same wavelength of Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, or Pat Mahomes, Alex Smith. That kind of scenario where you have the guy sitting behind and learning and just figuring out the offense. So I definitely agree with you there. I might have been a little trigger happy to get Jimmy out, but.
Well, I think you saw, Herbert just got flung in there and stuff, but I just think Kyle's offense is too complicated, compared to other teams.
Hey, an interesting take I got for you. Speaking on Herbert, do you think, in retrospect, looking at how he panned out as a player, do you think that teams would have taken him higher than just 6th overall? Do you think he could potentially be the number 1 overall in that draft?
I think it's pretty clear he'd be the number 1. Retrospect, he would clearly be the number 1 overall pick. But you know what? Okay, and we're talking about the Dolphins, so we're kind of staying in the same ballpark. I mean, I'm a little biased, obviously. By the way, happy Jersey Friday, people. I don't think Tua's as bad as people are saying. I think this move proves that, the Dolphins are going to run with him for another year. And I like that because he wasn't even supposed to play this last year.
No.
He has an artificial hip. He's playing with an artificial hip. Can you imagine that?
Is he going to have an artificial hip forever, or is it just the season?
No, because once you pop out your hip, it's permanent. You're not. They put in stuff in there that is totally artificial. You can't.
So what happened to Bo Jackson. What I'm asking right now is that excuse that we're making right now, and it's a valid one, that he has an artificial hip for that season. He's playing with that.
Forever now.
All right, so it is forever. But are you saying?
Oh, it's in his body.
Are you alluding to the fact that maybe it would take a year or so to get used to it?
yeah, I thought it was it changes everything. Like, Bo Jackson's career ended after that, but granted, this was 35 years ago. Like, advances in technology, I think you could play with that, if you know how to. But I can't believe, they saw Herbert go out there, they saw him dominate, and then they got, weary of the purchase they made, that they didn't pick Herbert. And so they thrust him in there. I think he was totally unprepared. And, all he had was Devontae Parker out there. I didn't love his offensive weapons. I would we'll really know what Tua is this year, especially with, piggybacking onto this trade. The Dolphins then traded with the Eagles and got back into the top 6. They're the 6th pick now.
So who do you
think
they're
the Eagles got the Niners 12th. So with that 6, they're picking Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts. The tight end out of Florida, or that beast LSU receiver. He sat this year.
What about so how far up do you think the Alabama boys going? Probably 3rd, 4th.
Mac Jones or Najee, the running back. Well, obviously you're probably talking about Mac Jones. Oh, Devontae.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith. He's going to go 2nd. Jamar Chase is. I've heard from too many sources. Jamar Chase.
Wait, Devontae Smith is going 2nd?
No. He'll go. 7 or 8. I don't know. It depends, because Kyle Pitts and Jamar Chase are like a toss-up on who's going to go first. And then I think after those two pass catchers, Devontae Smith is going to go. But he's not going to make it out of the top 10. I'll tell you that right now.
Regardless of his Heisman season, I guess, huh?
Well, people are a little, because he weighed in at 170 pounds. So that's a little, that's a little light. But I saw Chad Ochocinco back him up, and he's like, I was playing at 170. I have no reason to think that
he can't
Devontae Smith.
He can put on 15 pounds of muscle.
Well, you look at his body; he's kind of wiry. You don't really want him to gain a bunch of muscle. I mean, a little bit, but I think he's fine playing at the weight he is. He will have to gain 10 pounds or something.
Look at Jerry Rice, man. He wasn't exceptionally, built. But
Jerry Rice was solid, though.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think Jerry Rice. I don't know.
Chad Ochocinco is a good call. He had a great career.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he defended him, which.
But
was cool.
I believe he prefers to be called Chad Johnson these days. So let's not be offensive on here.
I'm going to call him Chad Ochocinco. He made a little tiff, making all of us call him Chad Ochocinco.
All right. Well, getting back to the Niners trade, it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. We're going to see it on April 29th, right? The day of the draft.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts. It's either... So, who do you think is going to get picked? It's either Trey Lance or Justin Fields, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Fields, man.
Yeah.
And you got to love to... I mean, I'm excited for that because, what he was able to do in his college career. He went to the playoffs twice. He went to the championship game once. Had close battles with Clemson. Beat Clemson. Yeah, I mean, I know that I don't know. I think that he has a lot more to prove, and I like that we're going after him. Someone that had a very storied career in college, and he has definitely the tools to be a well sought after professional.
Yeah, I've been reading a lot, and a lot of people brought out new mock drafts today after those three.
Everything's changed. Dominoes, man.
Everything. So. I watched part of the highlights of Zach Wilson's pro day. Man, his arm is... He made this one pass where he rolled out left, So he's a righty, right? So he's rolling off on his back leg. Like, he's going this way. And he throws it opposite field, right corner, flag. And he hit this guy for a 55-yard connection. It was insane. So he's for sure going number 2. I can't see the Jets. What's funny about that quickly. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent, but it was funny because Saleh was there, and you know how a lot of coaches take notes? Their hands were in their pockets. I heard Coward say, and then I looked it up. There's no thinking about it. They're going to pick that guy. But I do think it's a little interesting. I would pick Fields but a lot of people are split on whether it's Trey Lance or Fields. Even some people say it's the Alabama quarterback, maybe Mac Jones, because Shanahan's entire career he's ran with Matty Ice, and he ran with Cousins and Jimmy G, and that's kind of. But I think after getting his ass kicked by these mobile quarterbacks these past few years, I think it's going to be Trey Lance or Fields. I think it's a little interesting. Trey Lance is a little riskier because he didn't play this last year, because the FBS 1A or the AA, the lower level, didn't play any games. They played that one game. So he's only had one season of playing. And I think his comp, it's not too much, but like a Josh Allen, like a raw, physically talented beast. He's huge. But Fields has connections with Shanahan all the way back to high school quarterback camp. So I think it's going to be Fields too.
I think that with what he did in his college career, it sets him up to be a really solid NFL quarterback. So I think I trust Shanahan. I think he's the wide receiver kind of quarterback whisperer. I think he'll suck all the talent. And you know what I'm really excited about? And I was thinking about this earlier. I was talking about that comp that I wasn't going to mention until right now. He's had like I compared Jimmy to like a 2015. I don't know all the models of BMWs, but like a BMW. Like a. Are you talking like an M3?
I don't know where they're at.
M3 is nice. Or are you talking
M3?
About...
No, not an M3.
Maybe like a 5 Series?
Yeah, like a medium price BMW. And now he's getting like potentially a Porsche. So I think he's going to open up, we're going to see some stuff that Kyle Shanahan has never, done because either way, this guy's going to be more mobile, right?
And it's going to be awesome to see guys like Brandon Ayuk and Debo, especially Ayuk though, and Kittle. We got all these weapons on the team, and now they're really going to get utilized to the point where we could see those deeper throws being made at a more accurate and high level.
Yeah, I think they did this because they see that they have the entire team in place.
Oh yeah, they got the defense.
Every other position, right? Besides maybe defensive back, like they're gonna their second round pick that they didn't give up is gonna be a DB. Like I have no doubt in my mind,
But I think they're really set up, Dean, to compete in this year, especially with the NFC West, really dialing up. Rams going out, getting Matt Stafford. I think Shanahan just took a look at his roster and said, hey, man, this roster is a quarterback away from really being in full contention for a Super Bowl. And that's what he went out and did.
When I saw that quickly on it, I was listening to another podcast, Middlecoff and Haberman. They're really good. They mentioned it. They go back to this, what was kind of the breaking point? Or what was that, like, like that moment where, do you remember after when the Niners got just smashed by the Bills in Arizona when they were playing? That's when they were a home team.
Yeah.
And he started talking about, man, Josh Allen could do some off-script things that are really impressive. And I see today's NFL. I'm paraphrasing. And today's NFL, like a lot of the greats, the top 5, you want to have a guy that can potentially be a top 5 quarterback.
Tom Brady.
And it's that off. Yes. Well, yeah. Tom Brady his knowledge is so deep about the game that he could just pick you apart. Like he's not. Well, he does some off-script stuff, but not too much. But
but you're talking about run and gun.
Everyone else besides Aaron Rodgers is an off-script quarterback. Everyone else, Russell Wilson, everyone else besides Tom.
Yeah.
All the really good ones. And that's where he said where the league is going, and he said that's what he was talking about, and it was very insightful if you ever go back and watch it. But I think that was the moment where he was pondering doing something like this.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else NFL-wise that you wanted to touch on?
I would like to say one thing about the Eagles. I do think it's very interesting with that trading back to 12. They're going to run with Jalen Hurts this year. They're going to see what they have in Jalen Hurts, and I thought that was interesting.
So, would you go? Are you going to say that Jalen Hurts or Tua, of the two former Alabama quarterbacks, who's going to have a more successful career? They both have equal opportunity here as starters.
Oh, you can't do more successful career. We know nothing about either of them. You can't.
I'm just asking you a question. Your
a better season.
I'm
this
asking
year.
for you to open up the fortune cookie. Yeah, let's do this year. Let's do this year.
I'll do this year. Quarterbacks you never know.
Let's do this year. Let's do this year. You're right.
This year I think Tua. They got Will Fuller. The Eagles still have no weapons for Jalen Hurts besides the running back. What's his name? Yeah, besides Miles Sanders. But he has no one to throw to.
They've been depleted, yeah.
Well, depleted, I feel like, is due to injuries.
Oh, okay.
No. Depleted, you're talking about more injuries, they're just non-existent. Granted, Jalen Reagor was hurt. I think he's going to be a solid player. But, so the Miami Dolphins, though, went out and got Will Fuller, so he's got a top guy, top speed, deep threat. The guy from the Penn State tight end is pretty decent. He's a top 12 tight end. What's his name? The big white guy. I can't think of his name. Number 86. I can't think of his name, but he was out of Penn State. He had a solid year. So and then they're going to get
big white guy tight end is not a good description.
He was Penn State. He went to Penn State. I forget his name. Anyways.
No, you're no worries.
Yeah, so I think, and then they get Kyle Pitts. They get that freak 4'4",
they'll be
250-pound Florida guy.
You're right.
And then, or they'll get Jamar Chase.
They're stacked. They're going to be stacked offensively. I shouldn't have really even asked the question. I just saw you wearing the Alabama merchandise, and I just wanted to give it a go.
That's kind of like a backhanded compliment. That's kind of saying I just was choosing Tua. I just think Tua has more weapons.
No, I just think it's an interesting story.
And Jalen Hurts went to Alabama, bro.
I know. I said
before he went to Oklahoma.
I know it's an interesting story. That's what I was saying.
Yeah. I wish the best to Jalen Hurts, though. I think they need to get him more weapons. I'm a little worried about the weapons he has at receiver.
Definitely, but hey, anyone can win that division. So there's that. He's got that going.
I think the Washington football team are going to win that.
I'll take the football team all day. So anything else NFL-wise? I feel like that's pretty much it.
I mean, that was it. Those three teams switching spots, major. That was about it.
All right, man. Yeah. Well, then let's get into the college basketball. We can go over the matchups, and then let's talk about some betting. So Oregon State, Loyola. Oh no, we already covered. We covered tomorrow. We're going to cover Sunday now because remember we covered.
Okay, but the lines are out today, right?
Yeah, but let's get into the matchups for Sunday, and then let's go back and backtrack and then do the lines for the other games. Okay. So Creighton, Gonzaga.
So Gonzaga's minus 13.
Yeah, but no, we're not. Oh yeah, we can do the spreads too. But let's talk about the matchup first, and then we'll talk about what we would take betting wise.
Well, I watched Gonzaga's last game, and they were just against Oklahoma, and Oklahoma kind of hung around early, but they were draining a bunch of threes. Creighton is a better team. They're a lot better than we thought. We had them going out earlier, but Gonzaga's been steamrolling people. They're so deep. They got 8 guys out there. Suggs is a monster, man. I don't know. He's giving Cade Cunningham a run for that number 1 overall pick. Their guard.
Yeah.
And their big talented center that has the I love the mustache, the 80s mustache. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And the headband. That guy's sick, but he's averaging like close to a double-double. But yeah, I think Gonzaga's just going to take care of them like they have been. What do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, I think Creighton's 3-point shooting is interesting because like in a 1-game scenario, you don't want to face the team that could get hot from behind the arc.
True.
But with that being said, Gonzaga is just so deep, man. I mean, it's really their tournament to lose.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Yeah.
All right, so the next game here is and then why don't we talk spread? It's minus 13 Gonzaga. Where are you leaning there?
I think Creighton's going to cover that. It's That is tough.
I see the game hanging around 10 points, and it's just a matter of like what happens at the end.
Yeah, I think
can Creighton hit a garbage time three?
With Creighton, yeah, I know, but with Creighton's 3-point shooting, you would think that they'd be. I think they'll be closer than that. I think Gonzaga. I don't know. I think they're going to make it tough for Gonzaga, but Gonzaga's going to win out with talent. I would take Creighton to cover plus 13. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Well then.
What do you think?
This is a tough one for me. I feel like this is a pretty solid spread because I think that it's going to come down to the end of the game, and that's exactly what Vegas likes, right? They like when it's going to. They're right on the money. So I think I'll lean Creighton plus 13 just because I'm going to believe in the 3-pointer.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be around that number.
That is a good thing to believe in these days,
Hey, so FSU Michigan. I saw a lot of interesting things from both sides of this matchup. But why don't you start us off there?
Oh well, you've done more. I mean, the one thing I'll say about Michigan is that I've been saying they lost their senior forward. I think he's a forward. Yeah, and everyone had them being the first 1 seed to go out of the tournament, and in our thing we actually had them losing this round to Georgetown, but we don't know anything. It was pretty bad. But Florida State has surprised me. I think they'll take out Michigan. Go ahead, you can talk.
No, I'm on that wave too. Michigan was a little shaky from the start against LSU. LSU led at halftime, and it ended up being a pretty close game all the way through. So, and we're talking that's the 8 seed versus the 1 seed.
And FSU's way more talented than LSU.
Yeah, getting into FSU, man, I really thought that Boulder had a really outstanding showing against Georgetown round 1. Now you fast forward to round 2. Round 1 they were raining threes all day. Round 2 they play against FSU, a team that's coming from a tougher conference. It was just night and day, man. They lost by 20 points. So,
is the ACC a tougher conference, though? I mean, what we're seeing from the Pac-12 this year, the Pac-12 looks like the better conference.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But they do have a lot more length. Like their Florida State, they were playing a slow. Gosh, man, I'm so upset with our Georgetown pick. You could see that Patrick Ewing is trying to run his whole offense through his centers, and he doesn't. I mean, he appreciates the 3, but they just look slow out there, man, and they're getting just so much separation, and that's why they were able to make so many threes. That was I think we were both watching that game at different places, but that was the most, or tied for the most threes that Colorado made in the first half all season. So, they're not going to shoot like that again. So, I mean,
yeah, they went from shooting like nearly 50% at least from 3 to against FSU going only 24%, 6 of 25, which is
but that's, man,
that's a wake up call.
That fell back to earth. Jeez.
Yeah, come back to earth.
So are we confident enough to take the money line? It's only 2.5, or do you want to just do spread?
FSU is plus 116 on the money line.
Oh wow!
They're 2.5 point spread. I would go money line there.
I think money line. I think we both agree on that.
But hey, we're just analyzing each matchup, and then I say at the end of this, why don't we say our 3 favorite? Because I feel like if we did every single game, we're likely going to lose. But if we had our 3 favorite, those would be the ones we put in the description.
I know. I'm just talking through our process here.
But I'm just saying we'll agree on.
I agree. I agree with you. Out of all 8 games, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. All right. So UCLA, Bama. I'll let you take the floor on that one.
Okay. Well, Roll Tide, obviously. UCLA has really impressed me. Their 3-point shooting has been great every game. I do Alabama. Their whole, they made a lot of threes last game. They finally caught up. The first game they played terrible with their threes, and that's why upset alert. Riley's jabbing me with that upset alert. But I just think Alabama's length and size will just get to UCLA, because the thing is the thing about Alabama has great wing defenders and guard, and like their guards are all have a high 6 foot something wingspans, like high, like 6'8" or 6'9", and they're all tall. So I think they're going to bother their 3-point shooting. That's why we have Alabama going so far. We have them going to the Final Four because their defense is great, and they can pound the ball in the paint anytime they want, and they're decent shooting threes. Like, they're not a terrible 3-point shooting team for all the length they have, which is kind of a surprising thing. What do you think?
Yeah, I like Alabama here. I don't know if I like them -7.
I know. No, I'm thinking that. I think you.
I think the line should be closer to 5.
Yeah.
But hey, you know what? If you're feeling Bama, roll Tide, man.
I think I'd have UCLA cover that. I think it's going to be a tight game, and that's coming from a Bama fan.
All right, man. Well, last matchup for the Sunday night slate is Oregon versus USC at Pac-12 powwow.
These last two, I'm way more confident in our first two of the day. This one is a freaking coin flip, right?
Who do you lean? I mean, there's plenty of.
I think I'm going to do USC. USC's played a tough. I think I'm going to do USC. Yeah.
As am I. I.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't think that would turn out like that.
I was going to go USC too, and it looks like 57% of bets are on Oregon +2. It's a 2-point spread. The teams have met in the regular season, and I'm going to get the history on that in just a second. Sorry, one second.
I know Oregon's going to be, Oregon's been on fire, but I don't know the last time I saw Kansas get stomped and dismantled like they did against USC.
The last time they played was February 22nd, and the USC won by 14, 72-58.
Yeah, well, it makes sense why they were the higher seed going into the tournament.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually, you know what? The more I think about it, I'm pretty confident in USC money line here, to be honest with you.
I think I take them spread -2. Money line's at -127. You might get a little more value there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But money line, you're right. Money line's not bad.
No, I like the spread then.
I just feel like, it's a 2-point spread because...
No, it's meaningless. Yeah, no.
It's just close.
Yeah.
It's one of those... Yeah. You got it.
If it was flipped on the other side, you do money line. Yeah.
Yep.
I got you.
All right, so, hey, let's talk tomorrow's games then, now that we've gone over those 4. So, Oregon State Loyola is...
the grit and grind game, man. This is the grit and grind game.
-7 for Loyola. So, they're expecting a big win there.
I don't know.
53% of bettors are hopping on the Beaver train, and I don't blame them. But
I think this is going to be one down to the wire because they're both so good defensively. I see Oregon State covering +7. Like, I just, Loyola Chicago is the #1 rated defense in the country, but Oregon State, man, they put the clamps on Oklahoma State, bro. Like, that was. And Cade Cunningham was out there, a guy that's way more talented than anyone on Loyola Chicago. So I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. What do you think?
I think it's going to be quite low-scoring as well. It's an over-under at 125.
So 62.5 each.
70% of the bets are for the under.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are seeing what you're seeing. Do you see a chance that Vegas strikes back and 70% of bettors take an L this week, or do you think that it's pretty clear and cut that it's going to be a low-scoring defense?
Every single possession is going to be a defensive battle. Both of these teams are not built on their offenses; they're built on their defenses. I saw Oregon State's game against Oklahoma State. I saw Loyola Chicago put the clamps on Illinois. They didn't make a bunch of. It's really, you know what it's really going to be? It's the winner of that game, and I think Oregon State actually has a shot. Whoever scores the most off of turnovers and whoever gets in transition. Because when they get into the half court, each team is going to shut the other one down defensively. So, Yeah, but I think it's going to be close all the way down to the wire.
No, facts, Dean. Facts.
Yeah.
So the next matchup we got here is Villanova Baylor. Baylor opened at 7.5. I currently have Villanova going to the Final Four in a family bracket. So, I mean, that'd be pretty hype if they took that one. However, Baylor's been on fire lately, and I see them mopping the floor against Villanova.
I think Baylor's going to cover that, and probably a little more.
7.5, yeah.
I don't think Villanova stands a chance against them. They still, it's been impressive what they've been able to do without their starting point guard, right? But against Baylor, man, Baylor's been stomping on people too. Go ahead.
I just want to say hi to the chat. Jackie, love the logo. Go Niners. What's going on? And then G. Russ, Tom, number 1. Appreciate you, fam. And all right, so
thanks, guys.
Back to Baylor, man. I definitely, even though I'm biased here and I'd prefer Villanova to just pull off this insane upset, I think 7.5 is more than reasonable. Baylor's just proven that.
I think that this is going to be one of my 3, man. I think this is going to be one of my 3.
I think it's in my 3 too, man. I do too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're pretty on that one. Let's go, man. The
Oral Roberts in Arkansas, man. Do you believe in the
March Madness?
Do you believe in the dental school?
Oral Roberts, Arkansas. You know what I do think? I do think Arkansas minus 11 is huge. That's what I think. That's too much.
Yeah, I think that Oral Roberts could be closely contending within like maybe 7 to 8 points throughout the whole game is what I see.
I don't think they're going to beat Arkansas. I think Arkansas is too damn big. But Arkansas is going to hold them at length, man. It's what we were talking about. Oral Roberts were the best team free throw shooting in the entire country. And that, man, college basketball is 3-pointers and free throws. Well, March Madness, Like, it's just, if they're within 5 at the end and they start hacking, like, Arkansas missed a lot of free throws in their last couple games. Like, I think they're going to finally fall, but I would take Oral Roberts to cover that. I'm pretty confident in that, too.
Yeah, and if you're feeling lucky, then you might consider taking them on a plus 460 money line, which is quite chunky. But yeah, I agree. I think plus what was it? Plus 11, 11.5.
Yeah, that's too big. I think that's too big for Arkansas.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it going one of two ways. I could see Oral Roberts hanging in there all game and keeping it close.
Yeah.
Or I could see Arkansas proving the world right that these rankings are there for a reason, and them taking it by 11.5 or whatever.
And you have to take into account the COVID and the lack of crowds are going to go into the favor of these small schools. That's really why I'm pretty confident in it too.
Definitely.
Okay. Well.
Although we don't know how well those Falcons travel, man. Those Falcons are known to be of the best in the bigs.
That is true.
That was a joke. But Syracuse, Houston.
I know.
No, I know. I'm letting our 2 viewers who are sticking with us here.
He was joking, people.
So Syracuse, Houston's the final matchup. It's a 6.5 point favorite for the.
Vegas knows, man. Buddy Boeheim, man, raining down threes. Oh man!
So is this the end for the 11 seed Syracuse here? Do you think they have a shot at taking off the powerhouse?
Houston, I watched that whole last game because they're one of our 3 Elite 8 teams left, and they came out so flat. Yeah, they came out RIP bracket. They came out so flat and lackadaisical and like lazy, and they totally were overlooking. Who were they playing? I'm blanking on who he's. Oh, Rutgers. They were playing Rutgers.
Rutgers, man. They had a former Pac-12 star Joe Young's brother on the team, as well as a player that's going to probably be going to the pros, and I'm forgetting his name.
Well, but watching that game, Rutgers, man, they had him. Houston, like, they had him all the way down to the 2-minute mark, and then they fouled the guy on a 3. He got a 4-point shot, a 4-point completion, and they were just missing wide open shots. And the last 2 minutes, the game just got away from them. They had Houston on the ropes, and Houston's so good at scoring. They came back and won. I was shocked, but I don't know. I'm staying away from this line because it's going to go one of two ways. It's going to be a close game, or Houston's going to run them out of the gym. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I have to stay away from this line.
It's a little sketch. I think of all the games, all 8 games, I think this is like the most sketch game. Like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, it says here 61% of bettors have Houston minus 6.5. And then 88.
I would not be confident in that.
88% have Houston minus 286. So a lot of people are throwing their stimulus checks down and hammering Houston here.
Nice.
If you're whipping out the stimmy and you're following the podcast and want to make some money, just let us know. If you're tailing the picks, tweet us out at Pacific Sports TR.
That was great enunciation, man.
Thanks, man. And just wanted to let you guys know that next week, regarding the March Madness, we're going to be having a friend of the show, Riley, on, and he's going to be discussing what's going on with the Elite Eight.
Yeah, we're gonna have old Riley back on.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of a letdown, I think, for him. I think we might have been bringing him down there on some of our picks.
I think this year, so many people's brackets got destroyed. I feel like we're all just. You know what I like about it? This is just a thought. What I like about it is I feel like we have Gonzaga winning still. I feel like a lot of people have that, but almost everyone else's bracket is busted, I mean, Baylor is the only one. Baylor's the one thing. But I think a lot of us are like kind of in the same group, like, oh, we got destroyed, but this has been some fun basketball to watch, Positivity, man.
Definitely, man. Hey, got to spread that positivity when you can, especially on a Jersey Friday like today.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. So should we pick our 3?
Yeah. Do you want to pick your 3 and my 3, or do you want to each pick one and then...
I think we both agree on the Villanova Baylor. Let's say that right
by
now.
far.
So Baylor, we're gonna say Baylor's gonna cover minus 7.5.
Yeah.
Okay, that's number 1.
I like Oral Roberts covering against Arkansas, but I don't know if I want that to be my 1.
I don't think you should do that. I think we should do
Florida State.
Okay, well, this is what I'm thinking.
Florida State
and USC. That's what I think.
Do you want to do the under on Oregon State and Loyola?
I think that one's. You want to do 4?
Why don't we do 4?
Over under? Over under is always a little sketchy though.
It is sketchy, but hey, let's hit them with the 4-piece meal right now.
Okay, yeah. Out of all of those, that is the only one I'm like 50-50 confident on that it's going to be under. Like, I actually think it's going to be under. We can do 4.
We'll give them a 4-piece nugget here.
Okay. Oh man. I like 10 pieces. Okay, so we'll do Baylor covering minus 7.5. I know, that was pretty good, right? Oregon State and Loyola Chicago, we'll do the under. And we'll take Florida State money line.
Hammer it.
And USC to cover minus 2.
Yes, sir.
I like it. I like it,
man.
Right.
We're getting funky fresh with it today.
Funky fresh, yeah. I like those picks a lot, yeah.
I do too. I might actually have to throw some down.
Oh, you will. He's going to be on his phone, my bookie, man, hitting it up immediately, DGen Life.
We're actually, we're not sponsored by my bookie, so we're not going to shout them out.
Oh, okay.
No free clout here.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I respect.
Hey, so let's go over some NBA talk, and then we'll call it a show.
So...
You go for it.
Man, a lot happened on the NBA trade deadline. We probably talk about it a little bit more, but the NFL got shook up so much today in that draft. So the 3 big ones were Aaron Gordon going to Denver. Denver traded Gary Harris, R.J. Hampton, and a first, I believe. I thought that was a pretty good trade. What do you think about that trade?
I really like it from Denver's perspective. I I mean, it's hard to tell what's going on with the Magic. Since like 2009, they've really had a hard time putting together a team that's competed for a title. But the Nuggets, they were a series away last year from making the finals. So adding a piece like Aaron Gordon, someone who's a monster inside, and having a big man like Jokic passing to him, I think it's awesome.
You know how everyone says the Sixers and the Lakers are a big team? The Denver Nuggets are now a big team.
Definitely.
They're a big, physical team.
And think about this. With AD, who knows when he's coming back? And then LeBron's recently out for what, 4 weeks?
6 weeks. 6 weeks. 4 to 6.
4 to 6. Man, Nuggets are
high ankle sprain. 4 to 6 weeks.
Nuggets are looking nice, especially if they end up facing the Lakers down the road. Who knows how AD and LeBron will come together. Let's say they do get healthy in the playoffs as a lower seed. Granted, they're probably going to lose some games here.
LeBron is not going to win without AD, and AD's really sketching me out.
LeBron's not going to win without AD.
What the hell?
LeBron's not going to win without AD, and the Lakers aren't going to win without either of them. So I think that we're going to see them plummet here as we continue down the stretch.
Yeah, I don't think that they could get into the top 3, right? They could pass them up, maybe. I mean, they'd have on a huge run, but I think the Jazz and, man, the Suns have been hot. The Jazz and the Suns, fourth. They could get the 4th, maybe. The Clippers. I'm confident in the Clippers, the Jazz, and the Suns. The Lakers are they could tank. Yeah, I mean, not purposely tank, but just because of injuries. I think they could possibly take over the 4th, so be in the top 4. The other big trade, it was so Oladipo, man. What the hell are the Houston Rockets thinking? They literally got nothing for James Harden. When you go back to that, so they traded. So Houston, I got it right here. So Houston traded Oladipo, who's injured right now, but he'll be healthy. For Avery Bradley, Kelly Olynyk, and they swapped draft picks. They didn't even get a full draft pick. They swapped.
And a chat member mentioned that the Nugs also have McGee as well. So looking real big in the middle. But Houston Rockets, they got nothing for James Harden, Dean. I don't know what
wait, McGee's, isn't he on Cleveland? JaVale.
I don't know. A commenter goes, damn, Nugs have McGee too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
I think he's on Cleveland now. But anyways.
Hey, it's confirmed they got JaVale McGee.
Really? He went back? No way.
ESPN.
This is
Nuggets acquiring JaVale McGee from Cleveland Cavaliers.
That's breaking news here from our producer, Grayson.
Oh, yep. Thank you.
Good call.
Appreciate that.
Thanks for the
he's a great backup center. I love that.
Great
backup center.
Hey, so anyways, back to what you were saying though about the Rockets. They got nothing. I don't know. I think they're really going to be the laughing stock of the league for the next few years.
I don't know why they had to push and trade Oladipo that quickly.
To be fair, James Harden landed in their hands for pretty much nothing, right?
We're not going back 7 years. Yeah, I know they won that trade originally. We're not going to go back that long, no. But yes, you're right. They did win the original trade. I mean, he won an MVP. No one thought he was coming off the bench as a 6th man, and then he wins the freaking MVP. So,
I mean, coming out of Arizona State, man, that guy definitely.
Here we go.
Definitely he had a lot of hype around him, and it just was nice to see him pan out there. But back to what you're saying, they didn't get anything for him. Oladipo is now going to be competing. Back to competing.
Miami's dangerous, man. Miami gave up nothing, man. Like they were able to keep Duncan Robinson. They were able to keep the guy from Milwaukee, Tyler Herro. They still have Jimmy Buckets, man. They still got Bam. They still got Dragic. Wow. That's crazy.
It's like a bunch of miniature super teams are being formed right now, and it's just going to be a clash of the Titans.
Okay, what I'd like to say is super teams are that term is so overused. They're not a super team. No.
Okay,
A super
can
team.
we call them sidekicks then?
No, that's rude. No, I'm not going to call them that. I'd say they're deep teams with a lot of potential all-star talent. They're not a bunch of all-stars.
I think it's this year more than ever, especially with what's recently transpired down in Los Angeles on the Lakers. I think this is probably one of the more uncertain finals situations that we've had in a long time.
I agree with you. I think in the East, it was like written off that the Nets and Milwaukee and the Sixers, it's going to be one of them, right?
Yeah.
If Embiid stays healthy, and then KD I still think the Nets can win the East without KD, but they're not going to win the championship without AD. I mean, sorry, KD. But I think this trade puts the Heat right, like it's a group of four now. Oladipo's been an all-star,
Granted, he can
his
average
injuries.
25 a night, so yeah.
I know, and you're adding that to a bunch of shooters already. Like, and Bam and Jimmy, who are great defenders.
Something's brewing down in South Beach, and I think the boys up.
There's a hurricane brewing down in South Beach.
The eye of the storm, and hey, you gotta be careful if you're the bearded bomber and the Slim Reaper.
With that, I actually have more faith in the Sixers and the Nets. I just think the Bucks lack shooting. I think the Heat could totally beat the Nets. The Heat could totally beat the Bucks again.
Dude, the Bucks lack a lot of things. The Bucks are probably one of my least favorite contenders from the East side, and I'm not going to get into why because they've definitely screwed me over on quite a few bets. But from that aside, the Bucks really don't. When I look at them, I don't really see like a really cohesive unit. I see like talented players, but I don't see. I don't know. Like I just don't see the it factor in them.
You know what? I think the problem with the Bucks is it's that Giannis still thinks that he's a ball handler / forward when he's actually just a center. Giannis is a freaking center. I don't want Giannis taking threes. I just don't want him. He's the All-Star game was like an epiphany. Oh, can Giannis shoot the three? No, he can't shoot the three. Okay, and I think they should have put more shooters around. They should have never traded. What's his name? The guy on the Pacers. You know who I'm talking about? The guy on the Pacers.
I lack Pacers knowledge.
Shit.
Brogdon?
I can't think of his name right now, but the guy on the Pacers that they traded because they didn't want to pay him. He won Rookie of the Year.
Brogdon?
Brogdon, thank you. Jesus. Okay, Brogdon. They should have never given
Shout
up
out to
Brogdon. Yeah, I think they have a lot of defensive prowess. I just think they don't have enough shooting. I love Drew. Drew's a great defender and a great scorer, but he's not a great, 3-point shooter. He's a good one. He's a good one. He's serviceable, but I just think they lack 3-point shooting.
And like Giannis ain't getting hot from outside the arc when they need him. Like he just should drop the shot altogether. I feel like a lot of big men like Giannis and around the league, a 3-point shot as a big man, if you're shooting it effectively, can be very useful. But if you're not, you should just drop it all together.
If you're the only reason a big should be shooting a three, unless you're Anthony Davis, a true center, right? Anthony Davis, I trust more, but Embiid, I trust in the three a little more, and Joker. Those are the only guys I trust to take contested threes. If you're a center, you're just supposed to hit the wide open three. If they don't respect you, you got to hit the knockdown wide open three. Like that's what a big should be doing. You shouldn't be getting three happy. The last couple of years, I think he's been averaging 3 or 4 threes a game. I think that's too much for Giannis. I don't love his threes. Anyways, we got a little off topic there. I love that move for the Heat, and I don't know what the hell the Rockets are doing. They didn't go full fire sale. They didn't trade John Wall, so I'm a little surprised.
Maybe they think they can get more value with him on the offseason. I don't know.
Maybe you know what I think they're going to do? I think because they have him under contract, I think they're going to just let him run loose and build up his trade value. Because they're going to suck. They're not going to win. They'll still get a high pick, and they'll buff up his trade value coming off that injury, and then trade him.
The Timberwolves definitely have some competition for that number one spot.
Yeah. Well, you know what was crazy? The Rockets at one point, so they got to 20 and then they won. They had lost 18 in a row, and the Timberwolves still had a worse record than them. That's saying something.
I mean, Timberwolves were like a lock-in L every night for much of the first half. They got a couple wins to start.
Well, Cat's back. Cat's back. That's why.
Back. D'Lo's out. You kind of scratch your head if you're a Timberwolves fan.
Edwards has been scoring a lot.
Edwards put 39 up against, is it Portland?
He got to 42. Like, he had a couple games.
All right, well, hey,
wait, last thing. Oh, yeah, I'd like to just add.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, just this one last trade. I just thought it was kind of significant. The Hawks traded Rondo to the Clippers for Lou Williams. So, the Clippers have some I like that because I didn't love Beverly as the starting point,
Hey,
Rondo's a winner,
Yeah, I think Beverly's got a little too in his head there.
I thought that was a big move, though. Like a very under the radar big move, right?
Yeah, man, and I think it works out for both parties because Atlanta didn't want him anymore, and he wanted to go somewhere where he could really compete for a championship again. So, according to Skip Bayless, that Rondo trade is the end all be all for the NBA, and the Clippers are now a big favorite to win it all. I don't necessarily think that, but shout out to Skip Bayless for always coming up with those off the wall, scratch your head.
Well, I hate that I'm agreeing with. I'm not agreeing with him, but I think it's actually when we look back and we're in the playoffs, we're gonna be like, that was a huge move.
Definitely,
because Rondo's one of those players that it doesn't matter. He's not the guy known for his in-season heroics. He's known as a postseason closer, right?
Postseason Rondo, man.
Postseason Rondo, man. He's one of those players that just gets hot in the postseason. When the game's on the line, you trust him.
In baseball, when you have a bullpen and it's all right, well, this bullpen's experienced. These guys have been through it all. They've been in those big games. Rondo's like that reliever that you pull in. He went to the finals in his rookie year. He has just been in and out of good teams throughout most of his career.
I think that's so huge, him getting that experience so young.
Definitely.
Because I think that made him a closer, confident, not stressed out in the moment. A lot of players are in a lot of sports. The moment might be too big.
Look at Madison Bumgarner on the Giants. I know I'm hopping different sports here, but him...
Shout out baseball.
Him hitting the playoffs in 2010 and getting to win the World Series in his rookie season, 24 years old, that really shaped him up and it set him up for success throughout his career, and I think it did the same with Rondo.
I just think you go in just a little bit on Bumgarner. Well, so Rondo won a championship, and he was a huge role winning that.
Big time with the big
2008 Celtics.
The Boston 3 party.
Yeah, exactly. I love that commercial. Bumgarner, you got to think of him he went in and he threw a 7-inning shutout and he gave up 2 hits. You got to be like, wow, I'm a rook and I just shut down one of the best Texas, the Texas Rangers offense. Rondo, I went in and I was able to, take out LeBron James. I think the confidence. That's why I think not to get into Warrior talk, but I don't think the Warriors should tank this year. I think that Wiseman and those guys need the playoff exposure. I think you can never have enough playoff exposure. The longer you put off going to the playoffs, I think when you're an older player, I think it affects you. I think it's way better if you get thrown into the fire in the playoffs when you're younger and you're oh, I could do this. This is I could live up to this.
It's how do you want to eat this food right now? Do you want to put it in the microwave for 30 seconds or do you want to slow cook it and season it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
put it on the grill.
With that being said, Dean, I'm pretty content with what we had to talk about on this fine Jersey Friday.
Yeah, we hit everything. Cool. Baseball's back in a week, people.
Yeah, baseball's back in a week. Pretty lit stream. Thank you guys for pulling up.
Thank you.
Peace out.
Cheers.